Students can write the message on the chat box, or even they can unmute themselves and they can ask.
Great. Okay, Keith, I'll leave it to you, and then I'll jump in when you're done.
Okay, thank you, Warren. And thank you, Farouk. Farouk, is it helpful just to maybe do a quick survey of the attendees to see if there is in fact anyone that is interested in, for example, the computing science program or the teaching English program? I certainly don't want to take time up from Warren's presentation if, for example, all the students are here for business programs. Is that something that you already have done, or?
Today we will have all type of students for the English program, for the business,
Okay.
computer science as well.
Okay, perfect.
And
so should I start then by sharing my screen? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. Is that now visible for everybody?
Not yet, Keith.
Not yet.
There we go.
Nope, we still don't have it.
Okay.
You gotta pick the window specifically.
Yeah, I did.
There you go, it's coming up now.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
We can see.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you, Mr. Farouk, for organizing everything, and very happy to be talking to you from Halifax, Nova Scotia. My name is Keith Bain. I'm the Graduate Programs Manager for the Faculty of Science and the Faculty of Education. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a couple of our professional graduate programs. I thought I'd just start by kind of introducing you more to our university and our city. This is an aerial view of our campus. And as you can see, we're located very close to the Atlantic coast in Canada. We're about a 5-minute walk to a park on the ocean, so we're very conveniently located. Our campus is one of the oldest in Canada. I believe it's the second oldest university that was accredited in Canada. And it's has a long history and diverse and inclusive community. It's a self-contained campus. This is a picture of our quad. We have a real focus on community, global engagement, one of the highest percentages of international students in the country. So you'll feel very welcome here. We pride ourselves on getting to know our students and really engaging with low student professor ratios. So you'll have a chance really to work directly with your professors. That maybe isn't always the case at some of the larger universities that you may be considering. This is a picture of our beautiful city of Halifax, the downtown. We are just off of the downtown core, so we're very conveniently located again. Beautiful, historic city of Halifax. Nearby, lots of beauty, beautiful nature to enjoy, beaches, hiking, surfing if you're so inclined, and lots of other amenities of a city. So just to get into our university's graduate programs, we have 29, I believe. I didn't count today, but I think there's 29. The ones we're going to talk mostly today are our professional programs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Master of Science in Computing and Data Analytics and the International Master of Teaching English, and then Warren is going to talk about our business programs. So just to start with the Master of Science in Computing and Data Analytics program, most of you have probably heard about big data. More recently, you've probably heard lots of discussions about machine learning and artificial intelligence. Well, these careers in these fields of data analytics and AI and big data continue to be incredibly in high demand in industry. In Canada, we have a shortage of something like 20,000 trained IT professionals with skills in these areas of analytics. And this particular program is focused on graduating professionals that have these skills. And this image just shows some of the actual titles and positions that our students have obtained during their studies in this program. So this program is focused on two main areas. It is analytics and business intelligence, but we also combine that with traditional computing science and software development. And what that does is it provides a real foundation in contemporary IT skills that allows you really to branch into multiple different job opportunities. So this program really is focused on jobs for our graduates. It is a officially a two-year program, but it's completed in 4 consecutive terms. So you'll finish in 60 months, but you'll still be eligible for a 3-year postgraduate work permit, which is obviously very important in Canada. For those of you with a technical background, the program does have a wide range of software platforms and languages that are covered during the curriculum. So again, you get a very hands-on, practical education using all of these tools that are employed in industry today, with a real focus on applied learning. Over half the program is focused on internships and practicums, which gives students a chance to really transition from student to professional during that period of time they're in the program. Again, why you should take this position if you're interested in computing science and have a background in IT. Almost 100% of our students since this program started have received full-time positions before they graduated. And again, there is still a demand for these skills in the marketplace. Every student that we've had come through the program is getting, in many cases, multiple job offers. We're also a certified analytics professional designation education provider. So if you're interested in getting a credential, additional micro credential, that's also included as an option for you in this program. The structure of the program is, again, focused really heavily on applied learning. So in the first two terms or 8 months, there are 8 courses that you must complete: software development, statistics, UA, UX design, databases, web, mobile, cloud development, business intelligence and data visualization, big data, and data and text mining. And the last half of the semester, the last 2 terms, are focused on internships. And students have a choice of completing either an internship or a project or a thesis. To be honest, very few, hardly any students complete a thesis. This program really is focused on industry. While you're completing all of these academic requirements, students are engaged in a variety of co-curricular activities. So these are very important. We host a number of special events. We organize hackathons, which are very short-term industry challenges where a company will provide a problem or a challenge, and students will have the opportunity to create analytics-based solutions. We send students to conferences. We have a heavy focus on career preparation and professional development. And there's also a heavy focus on project management. These are just some of the conferences and workshops that our students have attended over the years, engaging with both industry and government. Our students have had a chance to interact with the top levels of industry and the Canadian government. That's a picture there of 3 of our students with the Chief Data Officer of the Government of Canada. Again, we've engaged with companies like Salesforce and professional organizations like IEEE. So really broad professional exposures. I mentioned hackathons. Our students have participated internationally at events like the IBA, or the International Business Analytics Challenge. In fact, one of our teams came second in the world at an event in Montreal. And we get a variety of different companies that come in and sponsor our students. You can see some of the students are holding up checks for prizes they've won. But more importantly, many times the biggest prize is an opportunity to connect with an employer. So admission requirements, this program really has a focus on computing science. So you do need an undergraduate degree in computing science or an equivalent. We have a programming test. that's required, and that's usually the first step. And Farouk can help you access that test if you're interested. Really, it's to make sure you have the programming skills necessary to be successful in the program. We also have a technical interview, which is required. And our language requirements are 6.5 IELTS with no band below 6.0. So that's the general requirements. For graduates from Pakistan, we typically require a first class standing, which is a 60% or 3.0 GPA. That's kind of the minimum requirements. This program is very competitive. So certainly the minimum requirements do not guarantee admission. And we also encourage everyone to apply early in the process because it does fill up very quickly. This is the process. It's a little bit of a detailed slide, but again, Farouk and his team can help you navigate this step by step. Essentially, the first step is a test. Once you do the test, you submit your application. Once you submit your application, you submit your documents. And once everything is filed, you'll be invited to participate in a technical interview. If you're successful, you'll be given an offer of admission. So that's the basic process. So I'll skip through all of the details here, except to note there is a seat deposit required of $5,000 that is non-refundable, with the exception of if your Canadian study visa was rejected or refused. Documents, these are going to be very similar for almost every program. So every program normally requires some kind of letter of intent or statement of interest, a resume or CV, at least 2 to 3 recommendation forms. It's important to note these require a professional email address. So the university has a policy where it does not accept Gmail or Hotmail email accounts. They have to be a professional email. We typically allow unofficial transcripts for the application. So you can scan a copy of your transcripts, provide a notarized translation in English if that's required. And as mentioned, if you have not completed a degree in English, or if your first language is not English, then you'll need to submit a standardized test, IELTS 6.5, as mentioned. And we do not require any GMAT or GRE for this program, and we don't need any additional documents like your high school certificates or passports, etc. Farouk can help you navigate through, again, the application portal. So I'll skip through this fairly quickly, but essentially when you first start, you create an account in our system. It's going to ask you to start a new graduate application, and it's going to then ask you what program you'd like to apply for, and it's going to ask you to certify everything is accurate, and then it's going to ask you to pay an application fee of $110. And once that application fee is completed, you'll be then invited to submit some of your required documents. And this is a slightly older slide, but essentially you'll see all the different items that will be required, and you can upload them directly into the system. This is just a screenshot from last year, but it's a similar process. And then recommendations likewise will be able to be requested through the system. So you can send them directly to your referees and they'll submit their recommendations directly through our application portal. Just a quick note about scholarships. This program does not have many upfront scholarships. They do offer a few entrance scholarships valued of $2,500. But again, the main focus is on providing funding during the program. Again, as mentioned, almost every student has received funding during their residency for projects or for internships. Tuition, the annual fee table is published there. It's approximately 38,000 Canadian dollars, which is paid over 4 semesters. So approximately $9,000, a little bit more than $9,000 per semester. The university also charges a variety of mandatory fees that all students are required to pay for things like facilities and student services, recreation, and so forth. There's also mandatory medical and dental insurance. And this slide deck, which you can get from Farouk afterwards, will have a calculator that you can see exactly how all the fees are broken out. And as mentioned, there's a $5,000 seat deposit as well. Important to point out that our province of Nova Scotia is really committed to not only bringing students from around the world to Nova Scotia, to our universities, but afterwards hoping that you stay here. We have a number of really attractive immigration pathways. So in addition to our 3-year postgraduate work permit, students have the opportunity to apply for their permanent residency through different pathway programs. And those are implemented by our provincial government. So there's some pretty interesting opportunities for you to not only study in Nova Scotia, but stay and launch your career here after you're finished your graduate work. So I'm going to skip now to the other program. So I'll just get back out here. I seem to be locked out of the main room here, sorry. There we go.
Hello,
There we
Kate. I do have a question.
Yes.
So I have done a bachelor's in information technology, and I want to continue master's in computing and information technology. So can you tell a little bit more about the programming test you mentioned about?
Yeah, certainly.
So like,
the programming test, we can certainly send you the link to that, and you can take a look at the sample questions. It essentially asks you to write 2 to 3 programs using whatever programming language that you're comfortable using. There's a whole guide that kind of explains the test. There's usually 2 or 3 sample problems that show you a similar type of a solution and how it was written. And that just gives you a chance to make sure that you do have the background in the programming logic background that's required for the program.
okay. And do university offer any part-time student work permit or something? So like students can work part-time?
It's usually something that's defined in your study permit if you're allowed to work on or off campus. Warren can correct me if I'm wrong, but normally students will receive up to 20 hours of work as part of their normal study permit, but that does vary on a case-by-case basis, I understand. Warren, is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, you should be eligible to work up to 20 hours a week part-time anywhere you apply in Canada, and then full-time once you are on a postgraduate work permit.
So are there opportunities to work within a university for students? Because I see the location is, it looks like it's away from a city or something. Like, are there opportunities for the students to work?
No, actually, if you look at the map, we're right downtown. So this campus, if you look at the picture of our campus, it happens to just be located next to a park. But if you look at the picture of the city, this is the park in the far right-hand corner. You can see some of the trees up there by the water. So we're about a 10-minute walk to downtown. So we're right in the city, and we have a very vibrant IT community. I will caution you, however, that these graduate programs are very demanding. They are full-time jobs. And we understand that financing your international education can be very costly, but you have to be careful about not overextending yourself too much with part-time work, because the demands of the program are going to take most of your time.
Okay, great. Thank you. So one last question. Is it a limit for the credit hours per semester?
So it's a lockstep program. That means every student takes the exact same courses. So you take 4 courses in the first term, 4 courses in the second term, and then you do your practicums or your applied learning.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe we can just make sure we get through the next presentation just for time, and then we can take questions at the end.
Sure. Okay. So the second program, I'll be quick with this one. This is a program focused on teaching English. The British Council is forecasting that over 2 billion people are speaking or learning English now. And that language learning marketplace is going to double in the next few years. And of course, that means we need more qualified and professionally trained teachers of English. And those that are already teaching English to be able to work at a post-secondary level require a graduate degree. So this program is focused on professional education in teaching English. This is likewise a 16-month program completed in 4 semesters. It also has a very heavy practicum focus. This program has a number of affiliations that allow students to achieve micro-credentials. So for example, we are a partner with Cambridge University, and there's a number of different credentials that you can achieve during the program. So we like to describe it as you get your master's degree in Canada, but you also get a number of professional designations that are internationally recognized. So it's a really nice combination of programs. This is one of the most diverse programs on campus. Our 2022 cohort, we have students from 22 countries out of 33 students. So it's a really diverse group of students from all around the world. So it's a really great intercultural focus that allows you to meet and interact with people from all different backgrounds. This program has a kind of 3 main pillars or streams, if you will. There's a theoretical stream, there's a practical stream, and then there's also a unique stream which is focused on professional development and language learning as an international learner. Many of our students' first language is not English, so they're teaching English in a second language environment as second language learners. So this program also focuses on their own language development as a teacher. So it provides a lot of different practicum opportunities from the very first semester onwards. We also have a number of international partnerships, and these partnerships are not just limited to this program. St. Mary's University has over 70 international partnerships around the world with different universities, and some of them provide opportunities for practicums or international work terms. For example, we had a group of students in this program participating at Gießen, Justus Liebig University. They did a practicum there last fall, and we have another group starting at the University of Friedberg in Germany this fall as well. So there's lots of opportunities for students to complete the practicum opportunity in another country as well. Admission requirements, again, very similar. All of these programs have very similar requirements. We do look for some evidence of teaching experience or the equivalent. That's very important. 6.5 overall, 6.0 for the lowest band. Same required documents as the previous program. This program also has limited entrance scholarships, a little bit higher. But we also provide a number of scholarships during the program. So for example, right now we have 20 students that are completing what's called the Celta. And the Celta is a Cambridge University program that is kind of recognized as kind of the gold standard for professional teaching designations around the world. That program costs about $2,500. So we provide a scholarship towards that completion. So again, it's just demonstrates how students can get not only a Celta, but also a master's degree as well. This program is a little bit lower in cost. It's about 24,000 Canadian dollars, so about $6,000 per semester. Same basic fees. This has a $2,000 seat deposit. And again, similar immigration opportunities as well in Nova Scotia. So with that, I'll bring to an end my time and pass it over to Warren.
Thanks, Keith. Just give me 1 sec. Once you stop sharing, I'll share my screen. Can you let me know you can see that there, Farouk? Okay, awesome. Thanks, Keith, for sharing that. I know we're limited on time here, and I want to make sure we have time for questions. So Keith did a great job of touching on, the immigration pathways and postgraduate work permits and the city and everything that goes into that. So I'm going to do my best to stick to the programs because we have a number of programs to go through. So my goal will be to make sure that you know what's available to you. And then we can always follow up later for further questions. Farouk's available to you to help you with the application process, answer further questions on the difference in programs. So we'll get started. So we're the Sobey School of Business within St. Mary's University. So again, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, lots of great things to say about the city and the quality of studying here. A great spot for international students. You can see where we are if you're unfamiliar with Halifax. So about a 2-hour flight from Toronto, you might be more familiar with. Canada's a big country. A great spot to live. A low cost of living compared to other major centers that you'll find in the country. So again, just going to skip through this and get right to our programs. So you'll see our MBA program here, which many of you are probably familiar with MBA programs in general. We have a number of specialized master's programs as well. So you'll see a program in economics, a program in Master of Business Analytics, a Master of Finance, and a Master of Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation. So where an MBA is going to teach you a little bit of everything in the business sphere, so strategy, operations, finance, marketing. If you have specific interest in one of these areas, a specialized master's program is a great fit. So for example, students that want to study in investment banking or private equity, our Master of Finance is a fantastic program. Our MTEI program is for students that want to start their own business or interested in entrepreneurship in the startup space. So I'll talk first about the MBA, and I'll try to give you very briefly the information students are looking for in terms of tuition, length of the program, the basics on what you can expect in the program, and then admissions. And you'll see, just like from Keith's presentation, that there'll be some themes throughout. So all of these programs are between 12 to 16 months, which would make you, for the most part, eligible for a 3-year postgraduate work permit upon graduation. So let's start with the MBA. So the MBA is a 16-month program, again, recognized as a 2-year program. The first 8 months, you would take your core courses across business disciplines, as I mentioned. And then the second 8 months, you could focus on an area of interest to you. So if you don't want to get into a specialized master's program that's all in finance, but you could focus in finance in the MBA program, for example. The international cost is about $43,000 Canadian for the full program. And we do have up to $10,000 entrance scholarships for most of the programs that I'm talking about today. And you'd be automatically eligible for those programs with your application. So you go through the application process, applying online, as Keith mentioned. Once you've done that, you can then upload your supplementary documents. And then once your application is full and complete, it's sent for review and you're automatically considered for scholarship with your application. In an MBA program, there's a lot of other things you get involved in outside of just the courses. So we do lots of leadership training on campus. We have an international course where I actually went to Budapest in 2018 with my class, Finland in 2019. Obviously, we couldn't travel, unfortunately, during COVID, but we did go to Portugal this year. So that's a good highlight of the class as well. You can get involved in case competitions, different societies on campus, depending on what your interest is in sustainability or entrepreneurship or marketing. We also have a full-time career services office that will help you with finding employment for graduation. We'll connect you with industries and alumni that you're interested with. So there's lots of resources here to help you on campus. So for admissions requirements, again, you're going to see some themes. We're looking for an undergraduate degree with a 3.0 GPA on the Canadian scale. You'll see that the GMAT is only required for the MBA program as we go through these, but we do need the GMAT or the GRE for the MBA program. We then look for your resume, a supplemental form, which is your chance to tell us about you and why you think you'd be a good fit in the program, why you want to study at our institution. And then 2 reference letters, as Keith mentioned. They can be professional or academic, but they must come from a professional email address. For the MBA program, we would need an IELTS of 7.0 with no band below 6.5 or a TOEFL of 100. I know that was a lot of information. If you have questions, type them in the chat and we will get to them in just a couple minutes. So the first specialized master's program would be the Mtei program. Again, this, you can think of it somewhat like an MBA for the entrepreneur. So similar themes in terms of courses and finance and marketing, but you'd be learning more about venture capital and how you raise funding for your business than thinking about corporate finance. So focus in the tech and innovation space. This program is also a 16-month program, but you do 8 months of courses, and then you have 8 months where you have an option either to work for a startup, work academically on your own business, or work on a thesis. As Keith mentioned, the thesis tends to be the less popular option, but definitely available to you there if you want to look into further study. The program cost is about $37,000 Canadian for the full program. And again, there are up to $10,000 scholarships, which you can apply for the Mtei program. This gives you kind of a sense of the difference in courses and how it skews towards the, the entrepreneurial mindset. We do require a letter of intent for this program to make sure that, you are a good fit. You either have experience in a startup, you run your own business, you've maybe sold your own business, or you have experience in the tech innovation space. So I'm going to skip this slide because you'll see this is the same as the MBA that I just talked about. The only difference is that we don't require a GMAT and we look for a letter of intent. The second one would be the MAE program. This program probably has the most needed specialized background. So you would need experience in economics or probably have an undergrad in economics to be eligible for the MAE program. It's a 12-month program, $24,000 Canadian approximately for tuition, and again, up to $10,000 scholarships available. So you'll see that of any program for admissions, it has a high threshold for the requirement, but I'll talk about, if you're interested but you don't quite fit those, we have another option available to you. So many students in the MAE program would continue on to work for the provincial or federal government in economic policy. Many would like to continue on to do further academics, maybe economics and a PhD. So there's lots of options there to continue on as well. So for the MAE, we look for an undergrad degree, preferably in economics. It could be another degree, but we would want to see intermediate statistics, micro and macroeconomics, and economic theory. So you really do need to come into this program with economics experience. Similar requirements throughout. The threshold for a language is slightly lower, 6.5 and 6. So if this program really interests you, but you don't quite meet those requirements, we do have what we call the PBCAE program. And this is essentially to make you eligible for the MAE. So you would take this in advance of the MAE, 8 months before. And this would make you get the courses so you'd be eligible for automatic entrance into the MAE program. So you can see admissions here, the threshold is lower. So it would be great if you still have some economics background, but we're only looking for one statistics course, intro, micro, or macroeconomics, and we can consider you on a case-by-case basis. So you can apply for the MAE program if you're not sure, and you can be admitted into the PBCAE program. So we will review your application for the MAE, and if you don't meet those requirements, we can admit you into the PBCAE program. If that's confusing at all, feel free to ask questions, and Farouk can always help you as well. So 2 more here, stay with me. So the Master of Finance program, this is probably our most intense program, but it is partnered with the CFA Institute, which is the gold standard for finance. And students who have interest in the financial space are really successful coming out of this program. So if you're interested in investment banking, private equity, corporate finance, this is a program that is fully involved in quantitative finance throughout the program. It is 12 months, but it's recognized as a 2-year program due to the quantity of courses and the intensity of the program. It's approximately $47,000 Canadian for the full program. The requirements are 6.5 with no band below 6, but specifically for the MFin program, if you miss those by 0.5, we do have pre-MFin language training available. Similar to Keith's program in the MSCDA program, the scholarships are small for the MFin just due to the quantity of students applying to the program and the popularity of the Master of Finance program. The MFin is taught in a modular format, so where you're doing courses faster, you're not doing 5 courses over a full semester. You take 2 to 3 courses in a more intense at a time, and then move on to the next courses. So the MFin there, you can see at the bottom how I mentioned about conditional acceptance if you happen to fall slightly below the language requirement. Otherwise, ideally, we're looking for you to have some quantitative background in mathematics, engineering, science, or another business-related degree. And then finally, our newest program, our Master of Business Analytics program. So this is a 16-month program. You do 12 months of courses, and then you have one of 3 pathways to take similar to the MTEI, where you can get involved in an internship or a consulting or a research project. We actually had our first or inaugural cohort enter just this year. So you'd be applying for the second cohort for the Mband program for September of 2023. Program costs of about $48,000 Canadian for international applicants. So again, you'd see some similarities between the program Keith talked about and this program, but this program is more focused on the business side of it. So less of the hard skills that Keith talked about, and more how you use business analytics to make decisions in organizations. So you can see some of the focuses of the program there below. And again, we can talk about that in questions. So for the Mband program, again, we're looking for you to have some quantitative background in math, computer science, economics, or engineering. Specifically, we need to see at least 1 math or stats course that covers hypothesis testing, because you would need to have this skill set to be successful in the program and to start the program. Beyond that, the same. So looking for a minimum of 3.0 GPA. We can expect this program to be quite competitive as well. So aiming above the minimum requirement is ideal. And for all these programs, applying early because we do rolling admissions. So as students apply, we will admit them into the program. And if programs become full, we would close applications at that time. So the next intake for all the programs I just talked about is September of 2023. The deadline is April 1st for international applicants, but you can apply now. And I know Keith would echo me in saying, start your application. So even if you don't have a full application, meet with Farouk, start the online process, submit online. Maybe you can get your transcripts in now and your resume 2 weeks from now, and other documents maybe a month from now. But if you slowly start to get through the process, you can work towards it, and then it's faster to kind of get you a response once you get your final documents in, because we're familiar with you as a student, and you can work along that process. So that was a lot of information. that went kind of fast. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then maybe Keith can come back up as well. I think we have maybe 10 minutes left, or 10 or 15 minutes. If you have questions in the chat, maybe Farouk can facilitate that to us, or feel free to unmute your mic and ask away. Do you see any questions there, Farouk or Adi? I'm just opening it up.
Yes, this
one
is
there.
a few
Question for the
questions are
IMTE
in chat box.
I see one there related to IMTE that I could probably answer. Essentially, if you have a previous master's degree, it's unlikely that all of the courses would map and the requirements would map, especially given big differences in the Canadian educational context. We do get students with previous master's degrees from other countries around the world, and it's very unlikely that the coursework and the academic requirements would be the same. So typically that means that there's no real waivers or advanced standing that is provided for our courses in our graduate programs.
And I'll just comment on the one above about PhD. If you have specific interest in one of the PhD programs, you can feel free to reach out to us and we can maybe forward you on to whatever program that is, or the specific program manager. I'm not sure if you have another comment on that, Keith, but we don't necessarily work with every PhD program here. Sorry, go ahead. You're muted there, Keith.
Generally speaking, most of our PhD programs will require a master's degree or equivalent evidence of research experience.
I'm just seeing one more come up about the Mband asking for an exception on the CGPA. So you're not disqualified if you fall below 3, but you can assume that you're competing with all other applicants for the program. So in any program, we're looking holistically across your application to see, where your areas of strength are. So if you sit, kind of at a 3.0 or a 2.9, you're falling slightly below, we'd want to see other strong areas of your application. But you can't fall too much below that. So that's again where Farouk can work with you to help you understand how your application stacks up compared to other applicants that we have to make sure you're successful. Hope that helps answer that question. And work experience, does help, but in many of our applications, we look at work experience and the professional side of your application separate from the academic side of your application. So we still want to see that you have, the experience academically to be successful in a program.
I see a question about fees. Historically, there has been a roughly 3% increase year over year. I would anticipate that would probably be the situation for 2023. That might vary on an individual program basis, but in general, most years we see a 3% increase in our program tuition fees.
Someone asked about email contact. Keith just put it there in the chat, so you can reach out to Keith for the IMTE and MSc CDA programs, and feel free to reach out to me, Warren, for any of the business programs. We'll probably just put them again there in the end if the chat keeps going down, but you should be able to see the email addresses there. The next question I think came directly to me, but asks about the MBA and MBA scholarships and just general detail. So the MBA, again, was a 16-month program. The first 8 months is core courses, so you would have no choice in electives. You're taking it from across business disciplines, so accounting, finance, marketing, strategy, operations, a little bit of every course. And in the second 8 months, you can focus in an area of interest to you. Like you have specific interest in marketing or you have specific interest in consulting. And for scholarship, you're eligible for up to $10,000 as a scholarship, automatically considered with your application.
Warren, there's also a question about the strength of this year's first inaugural cohort for Mband.
Yeah, so the program's full. It was a little bit unique this year for the Mband in terms of applications opening late. because the program was kind of just confirmed midway through the year. So that was unique to this year, that will never happen again. So the runway was shorter for applicants only to apply for about 5 or 6 months, where this year all applicants will have a year to apply. And we're going to keep that program at around 30 to 35 students, from my understanding, as a maximum. So if you're interested in the Mband program, I know I say this for every program to apply early, but especially for the Mband program and the MSc CDA program. If you're interested, you should submit applications to those programs now and start talking to Farouk about your interest. Ideally, you want to be submitting for those programs in the fall.
I see a question about bachelor's degree in English literature, 3.65. That's definitely well above our minimum requirement of 3.0. And the fact that you have taken English courses certainly would prepare you for that background. We would like to see some evidence of some related teaching experience as well for that program. We have a question there about other language scores, the PTE and the ITEP. I know we do accept the PTE.
Yeah, we do accept the PTE for the English requirement, and I'm not sure on the other one as well. I'm not sure if you
I'm just going to check right now to make sure.
While you're looking for that, I'll go on to the next one. So is freelancing experience, can that be considered? So, for example, for our MTEI program in entrepreneurship, if you have experience, running your own business or freelancing, then that can definitely be considered. I mean, that's really ideal for that program to show that you have that experience. It's asking for computer science, so I guess I'm asking for another program. But in general, we're interested in any experience that you have. But I'll let you.
Exactly the same, Warren. If you have experience working as an IT consultant and you have a background in the area, certainly that would count. I don't see that we accept the previous ITEP score that was mentioned.
If you're unsure though, we can always, again, follow up with me, follow up with Keith, or follow up ideally with Farouk, and we can talk to our Faculty of Graduate Studies and answer any of those individual questions that you have.
Should I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, dear students, as you will be applying your visa under Student Direct Stream SDS policy, where only IELTS is acceptable, no any other language test. So you must have IELTS 6.5 or 7 subject to the program, and no less than 6 in any module. So Pakistan comes under SDS policy, so only IELTS is acceptable. And I think I should also add something further. To apply under SDS policy, each student have to fulfill 3 basic requirements, which are very easy, straightforward, and simple. Number 1, you must have IELTS. Number 2, you must pay your first year tuition fees in advance to the university. And number 3, you should deposit 10,000 Canadian dollar in a Canadian bank. So if you fulfill these 3 basic requirements, you will get your visa without any interview and without showing parents' bank statement. So dear student, आपने चूंकि SDS पॉलिसी में वीजा अप्लाई करना है, तो आपका IELTS के अलावा कोई भी IELTS के अलावा कोई भी टेस्ट रिकमेंडेड नहीं है, सिर्फ IELTS आपको करना है। दूसरे नंबर पे आपने फुल ईयर की ट्यूशन फीस एडवांस पे करनी है, और नंबर 3 विच इज द लास्ट, आपने 10,000 कैनेडियन डॉलर कैनेडियन बैंक में जमा कराने हैं फॉर खाने पीने रहने के लिए। अगर आप ये 3 बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट फुलफिल कर लें, तो विदाउट इंटरव्यू एंड विदाउट पेरेंट्स बैंक स्टेटमेंट के आपका वीजा लग सकता है विद इन अ मंथ। तो अगर आपको इस विषय में कोई भी कंफ्यूजन है, प्लीज फील फ्री टू आस्क।
So I have a question here, Mband. So I have a question here for Mr. Mosley. I was asking about the IELTS because I am gonna start preparing for the IELTS now. That's why I asked for the PTE and ITEP if they are accepted. ITEP is mostly accepted in American universities, so I kind of figured that if it's accepted for Canadian as well.
Yeah, so as per Farouk's recommendation there, it sounds like going for the IELTS So you need that for your application, would be where you should be working towards.
And is Duolingo accepted?
Duolingo is no longer accepted for our programs. So
Okay.
you would need
Yeah,
the
another
IELTS.
question here. Yeah, before the start of this session, I was asking Farooq about that if we are going to be depositing GIC directly from Pakistan or any other country. I wanted to ask if the tuition fee can be, submitted from any other country apart from Pakistan.
Yes, you can deposit tuition fees from any country. The only GIC is required to pay from your own country, from Pakistan.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, Rehman.
Keith, looks like you have one more question.
Yeah, I
Just to
see that there.
quantity.
So we typically have a cap of 20 students per section in the IMTE program. That's because of the nature of the content and teaching English, very interactive. So we typically will have 2 sections of each required course with a maximum of 20 students in each section. So generally speaking, we accept 40 students maximum into this program.
All great questions. Yeah, thank you. So if anyone has any other questions, I think we have a couple more minutes now. Otherwise, we'll make sure we just post our emails again in the chat so that you can see them and reach out. I'm sure Farooq will be reaching out to all of you to follow up to see if you have any questions for him. But I'll leave the last word to you there, Farooq, while I just type our emails in the chats here.
All right.
Oh, I think that might have just gone to Keith.
Yes, dear students, you can note down my WhatsApp number and email address. If you want to apply, you just need to send me your documents for the assessment, and then I will call you to guide you further regarding application fees, admission, and other things.
Okay, thanks for joining today, everybody.
Thank
It
you
was
very
really
much.
Great to chat with you. Lots of great questions. We look
Yes.
forward to hopefully seeing your application.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Farooq. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Warren.
Thank you very much. Have a nice time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Dear students, I'm still available for a few more minutes. You can ask any question if you have. Otherwise, you may call me tomorrow. Okay.